We've had this Lunch and Learn series to provide you with access to experts with the best knowledge they have to help you thrive and grow. We also have other resources. Should you need any help, just reach out and we'll be happy to connect you with whatever we can to help your business grow. And with that, we're going to introduce Gina Ramsey, who is not only a friend, but she is my marketing specialist. She knows marketing strategy, digital marketing, more than anybody else I know. So with that, we're going to pass it over to Gina to talk about a winning marketing strategy. And with that, we'll switch PowerPoint. All righty.
Thank you, Dina. So my name is Gina Ramsey, and I have a company called Pink Dog Digital. When we go into the meat of this, I'm going to flip off my camera so I'm not distracted with how I look, and you're not distracted with paperwork. I apologize in advance if the dogs go crazy, but the neighbors always have their dog walked at noon, so we may deal with that. And also, I would love this to be interactive, so if you have questions, if you can put them in either the Q&A or the chat, and I believe Dina will manage that for me, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And again, don't let me just sit up here and yammer at you. Please ask questions. Dina, please interrupt me. I would rather hear questions and answer them than just talk at a bunch of people. Okay. So with that, I'm going to flip myself off and we're going to go to my headshot. Or not. Apparently it's not there. So Dina asked me to talk a little bit about marketing, and I approach this in quite the reverse order that most people put together a marketing strategy. And that is I start at the end and I work backwards. I need to know what my objectives are. I need to know what I want out of whatever I'm planning before I can come up with the steps of it. So, what are my objectives? Are they money related? Are they numbers of clients? Are they percentage growth? What am I trying to accomplish with this plan? So if you can go to the next slide, Dina. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, look how cute that is. What do you hope to accomplish? Like I said, money, clients, percentages. What are the metrics to measure the success? How are you going to monitor it? And overall, are your goals realistic? If you've established a set of goals and you haven't hit them for 3 months, it may be time to revisit that. Some of the tools that I use to measure success is Google Analytics. So I can see the numbers of visits to the website, so I can see the number of form fills and phone calls on the website, and ultimately, what does that look like in terms of actual engagements? Same thing within the social channels. They all have their own sets of reporting tools, and if you are doing any kind of social channel, you should be looking at it, not just pushing content out for the sake of pushing content out. Once I know my objective and how to measure it, I can go ahead to create the plan. I have a 5-step plan that's very simple and designed to help you focus your time, energy, and resources where they will do the most good for your business.
Gina, let me jump in and interrupt you real quick. In terms of goals and making sure those are realistic, do you work with clients so that, because someone that doesn't have a lot of experience, with web and traffic and everything, maybe 10 visitors a week seems good. Do you help them with understanding what's realistic and how do you help them structure that?
Yeah, I do. So for example, with a client, two scenarios. Either a site that has been poorly optimized and we go through and do SEO for the site, or someone that has no social media or email marketing campaign. My typical benchmark is a 20% uptick in traffic to the website. And that usually in turn creates 20% more opportunities for people in terms of clicks to the website, contact forms, or phone calls. but you can apply those same kinds of things to a TV campaign, a radio campaign, you know, any traditional marketing, as well as the ones that have clear. I'm getting yelled at by Dina. Okay. All right, you got me. There should be a way to track everything that you do, and if there's not, you probably shouldn't be doing it. I've discovered in this COVID thing that maybe I'm not going to be doing as much of the networking as I thought I was going to be doing, because 80% of my business come from 20% of the people that I know, like, and trust. So why would I spend time with people that I don't and not spend more time with the people that I do? Does that answer your question?
Yep, that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So next slide, Dina. We want to identify the target. We want to, you know, when you think about who your ideal target is, don't think about demographics. Don't think about males and females between 25 and 55. Think about people as human beings. Think about people who buy your products or services already. Just like I talked about a minute ago, 80% of my business comes from 20% of my referral partners. I want to spend the time with those 20%. It's quite likely that the majority of your company's income is coming from a minority of your customers, where you've got several clients that are low to mid-level, and then the majority of your money is coming from that top 20% of your client base. So these people are your heavy users, and they're the ones that you should try and find more of. Identify the heavy users and then go find more people just like that. So when you're identifying the target, and you can see on the slide, what are the benefits people are looking for? What is the motivation for people to buy your products or services? How are they going to use it? What factors do they base their decisions upon? And how did they get to your company in the first place? If it's a referral, that should be a fairly warm lead, and you should be able to close that. If they came in through your website, it may be a little bit more difficult to identify who that person is and identify why they would want to do business with you. Oftentimes business owners think they know why people buy from them. You hear it all the time. Family-owned businesses, 30 years in business, or my favorite, quality service. Well, clearly you're not going to say, I provide really crappy service. Everybody's got quality service. They're all going to say that. These are really limiting perceptions for people. People buy from businesses for a number of reasons, usually not how long they've been in business or that they offer really great service. So, Dina, if you can flip to the next slide. Oh, these have gotten out of order, and I apologize. That's okay.
Can you move to a different one?
You're good. It's fine. I can punt. So the next step is positioning. Once you've identified the audience, positioning is the art of considering what's in the consumer's mind and figuring out how your product or service fits into the competitive landscape as it's perceived by your target audience. So where are you in all those people that offer web design service? Where am I positioned next to MindGrub, next to Vitamin, next to R2 Integrated? Your positioning statement has to be significant, unique, and credible, and it has to speak to where you are in that landscape. So you need to be at the top or near top of the list of benefits sought by the target customer. People buy from me because when they come to me, they get a website that not only is found in search engine results, but is aesthetically pleasing and at a good price. So those are, price and quality are big things with people.
Hey, Gina, can I hop in for a second? I got a quick question for you. When we're talking about positioning and figuring out your target audience, how many clients come to you when you first meet them, first the evaluation, that have any idea what they're doing with those parts there, or are completely off base that you have to kind of reinvent what they're doing?
Oftentimes people are clueless with what they're looking for. I'm also noticing a typo, and I apologize. You know, a lot of times people want, they come to me and they say, I need a website, and I give them the price, and they're like, oh, I figured it'd be like $500 or $600. And I'm like, well, you can get a website for $500 or $600, but what are you going to get for it? I had a lady that was going to pay a company $50 a month for a website because it was cheap. But what she didn't understand was that it was $50 a month for the rest of her life, or the life of her business. And by the time she got done paying for the next 20 years, it was 10 times more than what she would have paid me one time. So part of the discovery is always, what do you want to, what are you hoping to accomplish with whatever we're doing, and making sure that it's the right answer. That answer your question, Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, it's kind of looking at these companies and saying, hey, what you're doing may not be right, even if you think you've done these things. So it makes sense to talk to an expert and make sure you're getting it done properly rather than just getting it done.
Oh, 100 times a month I hear, my nephew's cousin's brother's uncle is going to build me a website. Then can you promote it? I'm like, no, I cannot, because unless I see the final product, I'm not going to put my name on something that isn't going to do any good for your business. And that's where my last slide, that is incredible. You know, it must be believable in two ways. It can't violate their predispositions of the target customer, and you have to deliver on the promise. If you can sell something to someone, but if you don't deliver, it doesn't matter how, based on their expectations, it doesn't matter how good you think the product or service is. So you've got to balance expectation with reality. Make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Okay. So next slide. And, you know, I'll just address language for a minute. I mean, people talk about advertising, people talk about marketing, people talk about sales or business development. Sometimes all those things get lumped into one thing. Everything that you do in let me say that a different way. Advertising is a subset of marketing. You need the strategy to enable the execution of whatever tasks you're going to take or actions you're going to take to bring business through the door. You need whatever that messaging is to resonate with people. And so these are some examples of some really clear messaging that isn't muddied up with jargon and promises. They're very simple and very direct. Your strategy explains why and when people are shopping for a product or service in your category. Yours is the company they should buy from. It's simply your position. That's all it is, stated in a manner that's appealing, persuasive, and memorable. So our tagline is building brands with bite. We have created our own hashtags with our tagline. So every post we have is building brands with bite. Every single post has that hashtag to try and reinforce that messaging, and so that we get identified with that. So Walmart, everyone knows Walmart's about the lowest price. Save money, live better. BMW, they want people that love to drive. The ultimate driving machine. If you love to drive a car and you love a sports car, why would you not want the ultimate driving machine? And Allstate, you know, they know that responsiveness after a claim is critical, so they do the "you're in good hands with Allstate." And I think that slogan is one of the oldest in the country in terms of branding and positioning. So make sure that your messaging supports your positioning and supports all things about your corporate culture. Any questions? Okay.
No, that makes sense.
So what happens when you have a marketing plan, when you have a marketing strategy, you're executing on it, and then something happens to make your business model change? So if you can flip to the next slide, Dina. There may come a time when you have to revise the plan or repeat the entire marketing strategy model. If you see your numbers going down, if you see you're losing market share, if there's, for example, in my industry, websites are getting less expensive, not more expensive, because there's more technologies to create one. So I can't continue to charge this much money when the market is here. So we had to make some revisions to our marketing strategy around pricing in order to continue to be relevant in that market. Some other things that may change is a competitor starts attacking your market share, which in my space that's an everyday fear, because there's always somebody that's coming into the space as a marketer or as a social media digital expert. So you've got to really position yourself as the best of the best. Whatever you're doing in terms of advertising or marketing or promoting is failing to deliver. Like I said, a lot of people jump on the Facebook bandwagon thinking that people are going to beat down their doors. And what they find is they're just posting to crickets. No one's getting their message, and they're wasting their time and they're wasting their effort. If you introduce a new line of products or services, we recently rolled out marketing automation as a piece of what we're offering. And particularly now in this time of COVID, we have a lot of people interested in marketing automation. If you open a new location at all, but much less in an area where you weren't before, you may want to consider revising your plan. And again, customer bases are changing and shrinking. I mean, we see that as technology is on the rise, more and more businesses are having a hard time surviving. So when in doubt, I would suggest you revisit it. I run a 90-day model for my business. So every 90 days we evaluate we evaluate on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. But at the end of 90 days, we really sit down and dig into what did my revenue do? What did my number of clients do? How much traffic is coming to my website over 3 months? What caused spikes or dips? I can put out on Sunday a Facebook post with puppies all day long, and everybody comments and clicks on that. But they may not comment on the post on Tuesday because it was a little too technical and I need to revisit. So I strongly recommend people to look at their marketing plan as a living, breathing model and not something that you are stuck with for the rest of your year, quarter, or life, or whatever. Revisit it as often as possible.
Gina, can I interrupt you? You mentioned 90 days for your business. Do you have a set, in addition to these triggers, do you have a set time frame you recommend your clients or anyone do the reviews, whether it's quarterly, semi-annual, annual?
So I review all of my clients monthly and then bring attention where it's due. So if I see you had a huge spike in traffic and it didn't have anything to do with what I was doing, maybe they did an ad or maybe they appeared on a radio show or did a webinar, and I want to help them identify those triggers. My clients don't look at it monthly. They only look at the executive summary that I send them, and not everybody does that. You can, for example, with Google Analytics, create triggers to automatically send you your reports every week or even every month. So you can take a look at it and you should have a good understanding of what you're looking at so that you can make those decisions and change that marketing plan according with those data points. If you're not measuring what you're doing, you may be doing things in a vacuum. You are doing things in a vacuum, and you may be doing it for no reason.
Got it. Excellent. Thanks.
Any other questions?
Well, I'm guessing that, Gina, that 90-day evaluation or 60 or 30, whatever you're doing, I mean, obviously everything needs to be tested. The world is constantly changing. You know, what your message was, even the ultimate driving machine at some point could go stale. So, you know, to your point, even if you're not using Pink Dog Digital, which of course everybody should be, but if they're not, you know, at least evaluate what you're doing. You know, if you're working with an agency, it sounds like make sure they're giving you that feedback, because if they're not, you have no idea what you're paying for or what you're getting out of it.
And I see that a ton, Jeff, particularly among what I like to call Yellow Pages customers, people that used to advertise heavily in Yellow Pages. They're typically a service business. They know they need to do something. They don't know anything about it. They don't have the internal bandwidth. They go and hire someone to do it. These people are posting and there's no engagement. There's nothing is happening. It's crickets. And so these people are spending a lot of money not having any idea if anything is effective, and oftentimes it's not. So we will, with our customers, we revisit it typically quarterly and pivot. So if Facebook is not working, but Instagram is lighting it up, then we go full bore on Instagram and maybe cut back on Facebook because we put some advertising on Facebook because it makes more sense. There are a number of new technologies that are available in the social space for people that are selling products. Facebook Shop is a big one. So we're migrating our retail clients to Facebook and Instagram Shop so people can buy their products right in the channel instead of having to go to the website. You know, in all industries, but particularly in digital, things change every day. What I'm telling you today is going to be different tomorrow. What I'm telling you tomorrow is going to be different 3 days after that. So it's important that whomever you're working with is up to speed on the latest and greatest so that you know what options you have, where you can spend your marketing dollars. Anybody else have questions? So if you can flip to the next.
And feel free to use the Q&A, everybody. Yep. Just say feel free to use the Q&A if anybody has any questions. We've got it up there.
Yeah, and you know, for anybody that's on this call, I am happy to do, you know, a 30-minute call, provide a web audit to see if your SEO is properly, you know, programmed, look at what you're doing with social, give you my thoughts and feedback, whether you do business with me or not, or take that back to the agency of record. I'm fine with that. I just want to be a resource to all the people on this call today. There's a couple of friendlies I see on there. Rebecca Pierce, Stacy Gillis, Michael Hammelberger, Anthony Camerata. Thank all of you guys and the people that I didn't mention for being on the call. And like I said, I'm happy to help anybody. Just give them a, you know, this is what I think, this is what I would do, and let you take it from there. Does anybody have a marketing plan in place, an official, this is how I'm going to market my business? I'm curious to get yeses or nos from the participants. Grant, how about you?
I have a loose marketing plan. So, you know, I've got an approach for at least LinkedIn and then the website, but then beyond that, I haven't expanded. So Facebook, Instagram, haven't really, but just the schedule for LinkedIn and that piece is my focus right now.
Well, and that's probably the best space for you.
Yeah,
You know,
I find that a lot of people just don't even like understand where to start with marketing. I know that's always a challenge that I personally have. Like, where do I start with? I don't even know what it means. Like, it all sounds okay in theory, but practically, what does marketing mean to me? What are the different terminology and things? So I think it's confusing for those folks. I think.
Well, I think, again, people confuse marketing with sales with business development. And those are three very different things. You know, marketing is the roadmap you're going to take to promote your business. What are the steps you need to take to make sure that everyone knows about your business and your brand? And it could be, you know, it could be your business development. It could be you out shaking hands and gripping and grinning and all of that. It could be an email marketing campaign. It could be social media. It could be your website. It could be TV, radio, print. It could be any and all of those things, but they all should be measurable and they all should be working, or they shouldn't be a part of that plan. And I also think that Grant's doing a smart thing by focusing on a couple. I see people, they are on everything. They're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, you know, everywhere they could possibly be, but their audience isn't there. So why are they wasting the time on Snapchat and TikTok when their average client is over 35?
Very good point.
Well, and then to that point, Gina, too, I see a lot of people who are all over the place. You know, they're touching on all these different platforms, but their messages are different and they don't make sense together. So if you see them on different platforms, you don't make that connection that it's the same business we're talking about, which of course then causes even more of a disconnect.
Sure. Something as simple as making sure that your branding on social makes all the difference. My friend Eric Benzer called me a couple weeks ago and he said, I just need to tell you that I don't care where I am, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest. When I see a post that's yours, I know it's yours before I even see it. So you need to make sure that your messaging is consistent, appropriate for your business, and you need to push that out, but only the places that it makes sense to push that content out. And Grant, for you, LinkedIn is the right place to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks.
So, Dina, I don't know how much time we have left.
I think we are running into our time. Thank you, Gina. You really got us set up with a good understanding of how to start our marketing campaign. And I hope that if anybody has any questions, you can reach out to Gina or us, and we can connect you because marketing is the first step in attracting those customers. And now that COVID's changed everything, people like Gina are even more valuable than ever. So thank you for sharing your wisdom.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Our pleasure. And next week we will be having Grant, who's one of our panelists, to be talking about the tips and tricks for effective project management. So we look forward to seeing you all then, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you everyone for coming.